The mission of the YAB is to elevate the voices of vulnerable youth. So this goes anywhere from homeless youth, law-involved youth, youth who have been in foster care, just any youth who have been through experiences that they want to advocate for in their communities. We, the Youth Advisory Board, are here to elevate those voices and give them that space to grow their voices.
The YAB has been in existence since 2018. We currently have 20 active members and growing. The YAB meets once a month and we alternate locations from San Bernardino to Victorville. And the reason why we alternate locations is because the lead organization that oversees the YAB has drop-in centers and shelters both down the hill and up the hill. We also have subcommittees that meet virtually in between our in-person meetings. These subcommittees are community aid, mental and physical health, and workforce development.
So I just want to see more programs for people who are not in foster care and that actually have trauma in their life. Just because you come from a two-parent household or a one-parent household, and doesn't mean that you don't have trauma. Doesn't mean that you can't end up homeless. It doesn't mean that stuff is not going on in these households that cause you to separate from your family. And then at that point, the youth is scared because there's not a lot of options to separate. So it's either, do I stay in this abusive situation that's not good for me, or do I just risk the chance of just being on the streets just for my sanity, just for my mental health? So I feel like it's really important to put the money for a program that opens up the eligibility for more youth.
Here in California, I'm going to say that there are an abundance of nonprofit organizations who are trying to help the youth. Family assistance program in general, they have a lot of programs that help the youth, but it's limited because of the funding that they have. It's like we have funding for women, but women and children, we don't have any, because now that you're not just coming by yourself, but you're coming with another person, another child. And it's like, we don't have enough room for you and your kid, right? And then it's like, oh, okay, we have resources, but you have to be 18 to 25. It's like we have to have an expansion of these resources that already exist in the community, because when we have something that's already working for youth, we have something that's brought me to this point where I'm sitting and talking to you and advocating for other youth. So instead of reinventing the wheel, why don't we all invest into the projects in the community that are already working for the youth and expand them?
I'm a baby on the way, so like it's a couple now. So it's like, I feel like there are a lot of programs, they try to like separate us when it's like, why separate us if we have like a family? But I feel like it should go towards more of like couples and stuff.
Basically, my mom lost her apartment and she lost her car and stuff and everything. And then after that, then we, went from shelter to shelter, motel to motel and everything and stuff, and just, kept going on and on. I kind of just got like so upset and everything, and then that's when I, became depressed and everything and stuff. And I was just like, why? Just why me?
At every meeting, our agendas have literature that says we do not discriminate against anybody regardless of their sexuality, their gender, their socioeconomic status.
All the new people that I gave applications to, please guys, fill it out. We want your support. We want you guys to join the Youth Advisory Board. We want your voices to be heard, because this is stuff that we do on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis. We go to Sacramento, we advocate with legislators. So we want you guys not to stop here today when it comes to using your voice, but to join the Youth Advisory Board, to join other people, community-oriented communities that have resources for homeless youth.
The YAB is included in the decision-making process to the homeless youth response system, but there can be some improvements.
Here in the Youth Advisory Board, I do believe that we have a population of youth that is able to represent each sector of homelessness that youth experience here. We have a lot of LGBTQ youth who are homeless and suffer from homelessness because of the lifestyle that they live and the discrimination that they face from their families and the communities. And a lot of times they are the ones who suffer from homelessness. So we try to represent them as much as we can, but we're doing our best to recruit more voices on the Youth Advisory Board.
I like to speak on just not knowing what's out there, I feel like a lot of places have resources and have funding, but they don't do outreach to, put that out there. So I feel like recently I've been lucky enough to have a lot of things brought to me. But if I didn't know certain people, I wouldn't be in those type of opportunities.
I think we all know that a lot of the times foster kids, once you're 18, you're done. And a lot of the times they're not financially stable enough to live on their own. They don't have any money of their own, so they end up on the street. And second, we have LGBTQ communities because of the fact that their communities or their families don't approve of their lifestyle, so they end up on the street. We also have youth who are suffering from substance abuse issues. And that's also one of the reasons why they end up on the street. And most importantly, mental health. Mental health, because you think about why you're leaving your mom's house because she keeps telling you that you need to go to a camp to make you straight. That affects your mental health, right? You think about youth that are using substances. Why are you using the substances? Because something you're not mentally all the way there, and you want to feel okay. You want to feel like you're stable. You want to feel like your mental is in a place where you can live life, but you can't, right? And then there's youth that suffer from domestic abuse, domestic violence, sexual assault. All of these tie into mental health issues, right? So mental health issues is something I think that we have to address in the community. Yes, we have to tackle foster care. Yes, we have to tackle sexual assault, domestic violence. We have to create more resources for the LGBT community. But all of this stuff is not going to get solved until we implement a mental health resource that is going to tackle each and every single one of these trauma-oriented causes that make our youth homeless.
But I think it's very depressing because I've been through it, still going through it. I have friends that's going through it, and for them to not have nobody to turn to, and them just drowning in their own head, it's depression.
And the reason I ended up getting kicked out was because my mental health situation got so bad that they couldn't take care of me or watch over me. And moving back in with my mom, who I've had a very toxic relationship with, it was only a matter of time that I got kicked out.
Youth are young. They grow. They get jobs. They go to school. Some of them, at times, they do fall back into old habits, or they tend to struggle with the situations that led them to the Youth Advisory Board in the first place. But most of the time, we lose them to life. I feel like when you're growing up and you have responsibilities, and now you have bills to pay, and now you have this and this, it takes up a lot of the time that you want to invest into the Youth Advisory Board, or you want to invest into advocating for the community. So I would say that's one of the challenges that we have.
Sometimes when you're out in the community and they can see you as a problem because you're out there in the streets, and they don't know like what happened to you. They don't know that you're domestic violence. They don't know that you've been molested. You know what I mean? So that's what I just feel like the community needs to be mindful of.
I was homeless from 18 to, I'd say, like 20. I'm a former foster youth, and then when I aged out, I kind of didn't take advantage of the resources that were presented in front of me. So I became homeless with a bad guy.
Unfortunately, we did end up being kicked out when I was 11 because my mother came out as gay and my family was not supportive.
If we are selected for the YHDP, we would define success as youth with a roof over their heads. We would define success as youth getting access to mental health resources that will give them the peace of mind to sleep at night. We would define success as accessibility. The expansion of accessibility to youth all over California would be what we define as success. Having youth who have been turned away from several other organizations because of their age, because of the fact that they have a baby, because of the fact that maybe they're not coming from foster care, that would be the success for us. Accessibility.